Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, to all our viewers. I am Coach Kumar, joining you from New Delhi, India. And today we have a very special guest with us, who is my mentor also, Mrs. Leena Haldar from Mumbai. So, yeah, here she is.
Hi.
Namaste. Hello.
Namaste.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
So before we start the show, I would just say, like, my heart fills with a lot of gratitude that she agreed to come on my first one-to-one show, and she has been a great support to me. But I would like to know more about her work from what she does, and I would like her to introduce herself, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anandmai. It's totally my pleasure and an honor to be your first guest. Thank you so much for considering me and giving me this place of honor. So, a little bit about me is I've been in this field of transformational work for around a decade and a half now. And I do a lot of coaching sessions as well as live workshops, everything that is centered around emotional wellness. So I have coached hundreds of people and have done more than 100 workshops. I'm certified by Hay House USA to do the Heal Your Life workshops. I am a trainer for EFT as well as for Law of Attraction. And I also do a lot of theme based workshops where I put in all my tools and I would look at a desired outcome and I would put a workshop together.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
So, I would like to know that what guided you to become a coach or to get into this field.
Well, my journey started, pretty much with exploring myself. I was looking for more peace. I was looking for to feel more positive, to figure out a way of, feeling good about life. And I went for these certifications basically for myself. And when I saw how it sort of impacted me, my way of thinking, and my life, then I thought that it was time to spread the word because this kind of work is truly transformational in nature. Because the person that I was, say, a decade ago, and the person that I am right now are literally like two different people, I can tell you. There has been so much of transformation, and I wish and hope that kind of transformation for so many people. That's the reason I do this work.
Wow, wonderful, amazing. So, ma'am, you said that you are a trainer in EFT also. So,
Yes.
can you please tell me more and viewers a little more about EFT? What is it and how does it
Sure.
work?
So, EFT is a technique which is clinically proven to reduce cortisol levels. So, if you do a blood test before doing EFT and you do a blood test after doing EFT, there is a significant decrease of cortisol levels by around 24%, as opposed to traditional talk therapy where you talk to somebody and you say, I felt better after speaking to you, that kind of a reaction. That
Mhm.
reaction would reduce your cortisol levels by, say, around 10% only. So, not only that, the effects of EFT are much more permanent because you tend to go to the root cause of whatever is the presenting problem. So, for example, if a person gets very angry, so the world only sees them as an angry person, and this person has a temper, and the person throws a tantrum or behaves in a manner that is unacceptable. That is what the world reads about that person. But
Mhm.
actually, there is something else which is going on inside for the person. So the person is getting triggered by certain situations, and that trigger sets off an anger reaction in the person. Now,
Oh.
what we do with EFT is we try to go to what is the reason for this trigger. And the moment the trigger is identified, and we do some kind of a little bit of emotional work around it, where EFT has a way of which in which it balances the disruptions in the energy bodies. So, by which I mean to say that it makes you look at the same situation in a different way. It gives you a cognitive shift, a different point of view than what you felt earlier about it. So that point of view helps you to find more peace within yourself. So when you find peace within yourself, if you're a person who's showing up as an angry person, automatically that anger gets tuned down and you probably start responding rather than reacting in the way you would react. you know so
Mhm.
it brings a much more peace and wholesomeness into anybody's life. And it's something that I use with nearly all my clients. All my private coaching sessions always have some amount of EFT in it because I find it is a very quick way to transform.
Okay. So I have heard that EFT is self
Yes,
help technique.
yes, EFT is a self help technique,
Okay.
but at times I do recommend going to a therapist because, see, what I have noticed in my practice with hundreds of people is that while EFT is a self help technique, what a coach or a practitioner does for you is that they hold space for you, because there is a
Mm-hmm.
certain probing and a little bit of detective kind of work to figure out what is going on under the surface, because most of the times if we knew what is the reason we are behaving in a certain way, then we would not
Yeah.
behave in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
awareness is the key. So a coach merely holds space for you, though I will be demonstrating EFT to you in a bit. You will learn the points, you will be able to do it. But then when a coach asks you pointed questions, you're able to sort of think a little deeper and reflect on where this is coming from. And then what happens is you're able to strike the root, you're becoming aware, and as you deal with the root, automatically what happens is the way you respond becomes different. So, that coach holding the space for you is what is truly transformational when you go to a therapist for an EFT session. In fact, though I see so many clients every week, if I'm really struggling with something, I will book in a professional session for myself also and make sure that there is somebody holding space for me, asking me pointed questions, so that I have that space to think deeper. What is really going on? What's the reason I behave in this way? Or what's the reason I feel overwhelmed with this particular thing? And then there would, it's just so magical when the correct questions are asked, how you are able to identify and how you are able to respond really differently and become aware of where you need to become a change, make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've also experienced it, Anandmai. You've been in my EFT workshops, right? So you know how transformational it is.
Yes. So talking about the transformation, you must remember we discovered a word called radiophobia in
Yes,
our first workshop. So
yes, I
just to
do.
prove that it has gone away, here it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm holding a radio film. So for our viewers, what happened when I attended her first workshop for EFT level 1 and 2, I was suffering from this phobia called radiophobia, where I could not hold an X-ray film or any radiology report in my hand. It could shake me to a level that I will not even stay in the room if there is a X-ray film or any radio film is there. After the tapping, we went to a very funny story and she cleared it out for me. And now you just see me. I'm holding a X-ray film in my hand and I'm laughing. I'm not scared at all. So it does transform and we will experience this in a bit. But ma'am, I would like to ask you this, that you meet a lot of people with different temperaments, with different issues. What motivates you and what keeps you going?
So, one of the things that motivates me and keeps me going is to see a person who is willing to work on themselves, embark on the journey. Because you don't
Mhm,
need to know everything, you don't need to have all the solutions. You need actually nothing. You just need to be willing to heal
mhm,
yourself, to figure out what is going on. And just with that willingness, it is so beautiful to see people harness the resources, because the universe has a way of just bringing everything into your life once you set intention. So the moment a person sets intention to heal, decides that, what, I no longer want to behave in this manner or respond in this manner, I want to live a more peaceful life, automatically all the resources come in and you see them struggling. It's not easy. Okay, and this journey is not for wimps either. It requires a lot of courage to really see your dark side and the role that you are playing, and to take responsibility for what is going on. It's
mhm,
very easy to blame our circumstances and the people around us for the way we are, and which is what I also did at one point of time. Okay, but then to see that, okay, what, I don't want to tell this story to myself. I want to
mhm,
tell myself something which is more empowering, because actually, Anandmai, Every thought that we are thinking is a story that we are telling ourselves. So actually, we are directing our life into that space. So we can pick and choose what story we want to say, and we can pick and choose that we do not want to be helpless anymore. But it's just that when we are not aware, we start feeling very helpless, and we feel as if things are spiraling out of control. And what I have realized is life will, dish out whatever it wants to. And there are different stories and different things that happen in all our lives. But yet, if we choose to be strong, to be grounded, to be centered, to do work on ourselves, we automatically will learn how to deal with it. Rather than becoming victims, we become, winners. We become warriors.
Yeah, okay. So, ma'am, you shared that accepting our problems and taking the responsibility of our problem is the first way. So, how important is the self love and self acceptance is in the journey of healing, of self healing?
Well, if you ask me, I think it is the most important thing. Because the moment you do not accept something and you reject it, you're giving it a certain amount of power in itself. There is a lot of resistance that comes up. The moment you look at yourself and look at the fat on your body and you body shame yourself, it's going to be more difficult to let go of that fat. But the moment you start loving yourself and accepting yourself just the way you are, it really makes a world of difference. I have lost 2 sizes of weight just by loving my body the way it is. And at one point of time, I was, I used to have belief systems which sort of dictated to me that I had to be look a certain way, I had to be a certain size to be able to deserve dressing in a certain kind of way, to allow myself, give myself the permission to buy certain brands and do certain things that I wish to do with my life. But the moment I decided that my parameter of good health is something else, the whole thing automatically shifted. So instead of looking at the weighing scale today, I think that if I can wake up in the morning feeling positive, energetic, feeling enthusiastic about life, being motivated to do whatever I need to in the day, having the drive, choosing healthy food, laughing a lot, having clarity of thought, not being clumsy and klutzy, but being smart and on the go and doing whatever I need to do to the best of my ability, then I have good health. And the moment I started defining myself like that and stopped stepping onto the weight scale and focused on happiness and loving myself, automatically my body shifted. It started shedding the weight. Not only that, a very good nutritionist came my way. I automatically started wanting to eat healthier food. Automatically, I started choosing to exercise every day, which was a big block. So all of that automatically shifted once I accepted it. Many a times, accepting the way our life is and where we are is very difficult for us. But the key to loving yourself is first accepting, and then gently, allowing yourself baby steps and not being too hard on yourself, but at the same time loving yourself enough to handhold how you would handhold a baby, a toddler. Treat yourself like that and gently start moving ahead. And that really works very beautifully.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, ma'am. I learned it from you that how to start the baby steps, and every time I fall, I still remember that this line, and then the life starts again, if I would say. So, ma'am, I would
Absolutely.
like for our viewers that if you have simple tips which everyone can follow, who is not a practitioner or who has not have any interaction with healing or
Right.
any alternative healing techniques, what do they do or how do they work on themselves, and especially during these times of pandemic and homestays?
Right. So it is a very stressful time that we are going through, and all of us need all the support that we can get. But unfortunately, because all of us are going through that, sometimes we're not able to support each other, and we need to take onus of supporting ourselves. So there are a few tips that I would like to give. One is focusing on your breath. Deep breathing is beautiful because whenever you're going into any kind of a negative emotion, it's causing stress in your body. And the moment you're breathing deep, what is happening is your brain is getting oxygenated. And normally, when you are under stress, your brain is lacking oxygen. So the cortisol levels start increasing even more. So the moment you start breathing deep, what's happening is there is a very calming effect. And you sort of go from your lower brain, which is the reptilian brain, which has your survival instincts, which makes you sort of respond in a fight and flight manner, into your frontal lobes, which make you think with clarity and make you take action steps which are beneficial to you. So deep breathing is definitely one key. Doing affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements which sort of are not your reality, but that is what you want to experience. For example, if a person is anxious, if the person just starts saying that, you know what, I'm calm and I'm peaceful, then say the person can just breathe in, I breathe in calm and peace, and I breathe out all the nervousness. I breathe out all the anxiety. So it's talking to yourself. Suppose you were a child and you were going through some kind of emotional turbulence, very similar to how a parent would talk to you. It's no big deal. You can do this. It's okay. It's only change. Talking to yourself like that. Another affirmation that I find which is very important in these times is I'm safe, because we are all so threatened with all the uncertainty. Just telling yourself, you know what, I'm safe. It's only change. It's okay. I have come till now. I will go ahead. It's okay. Everything is all right. It's all working out for my highest good. So, affirmations are a beautiful way of changing your self talk. So, if you keep changing your self talk, it's extremely beneficial because you start saying better things to yourself. The third thing that I would say is just be aware. We never think the thoughts that we are actually thinking because we're thinking on autopilot. But the moment you are aware, what are the thoughts I'm thinking? And then you become aware that this is the story I'm telling myself about my life. That I can never make it, it's not good enough, nothing is sure, things are not going to work out, I don't know what's going to happen now. Life is not working out for me, it's not treating kindly. Then you know what? That's what is going to happen in your life. And it's not easy. I understand that it's not easy suddenly to start thinking positive. It's easier said than done. But, I feel the starting point is awareness. If you're aware that this is the story I'm telling myself and I have the choice to change it, so then you just change it. You ask yourself, like how you would have a conversation with a friend or a spouse who's always talking negative. Ask yourself, that okay, this is the story that you're telling yourself. Is this what you want in your life? Obviously, if these are negative things, your answer will be no, right? Then ask yourself, okay, what is it that you want? And then you will start thinking, because most of the times when I ask my clients, okay, you know that you do not want this, do you know what you want? They have no clue what they want, because they haven't even thought of it, because in their mind that possibility doesn't exist. But if we don't know what we want, how will we ever get it? Right? So, thinking about the things that we want rather than thinking of the things that we don't want, that is extremely helpful. Of course, EFT sessions and ongoing therapy is extremely valuable, and we should keep having ongoing sessions where you understand that you're changing your belief systems. Anything tough that you are grappling with, I would highly recommend for people to take sessions with people like you. You are certified in so many modalities. Just take sessions and get rid of the things, because when you invest in yourself and when you're able to figure out all the thoughts and the things that are limiting you, you really advance at a much faster level. But we keep hanging on to those wrong choices for many years, and thus we sort of sabotage ourselves, we pull ourselves down. So, understanding that whatever is happening in my life, I'm responsible and I take responsibility for it. And I have the power to change it. These are just conversations that people have with themselves, and it is very empowering, because the moment you take responsibility, then you're not expecting your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your spouse to change.
Mhm.
And then that your life will change, right? So you take
Yeah.
responsibility and you be the change. So it's very empowering, because it's when you're expecting your situation to change, it's like giving your remote control away and saying, okay, now you can make me stop, dance, do whatever you want as you wish. But the moment you take the responsibility, you decide that, okay, I'm now responsible for the situation and I choose to bring about the change, which is a great space to come from.
Okay, thank you so much. So, ma'am, where do people find you? Like, if I know you personally, but if anyone wants to connect with you, and I would also like to know if any upcoming events are there, so that if anyone is interested, they can come and
Yeah.
join you for the sessions.
Right. So I am on Instagram as well as Facebook. On Instagram, I'm go by the name as Leena R Haldar, and on Facebook, I have a page called Life Coach Leena. So I post all my events over there. I have many free as well as paid events. Personal sessions, you just have to inbox me, send me a message, and I will get back to the message and I'll respond. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, ma'am, I would really love to have a practice session, like a demo session right
Sure.
now, because a lot of people are going through stress and anxiety. So, if
Sure.
we can tell them how to, or during this session, if we are able to help them a bit, so that would be wonderful.
Definitely. Definitely, that would be my pleasure also to do a demo of EFT. So, what would you like to work on? What is it
Uh,
that you find is inhibiting you?
hmm. So, in this current moment, a lot of anxiety is coming up.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
So, everybody can just actually, anxiety is a pretty common theme. And all of us are experiencing some kind of an anxiety and uncertainty in our lives. So, it's a great choice to work on a public forum. And so everybody can focus on this as I'm asking Anandmai. Just notice, where do you feel the anxiety in your body? So where do you feel it, Anandmai?
um, in my belly area,
Okay, in your belly. And if I asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not feeling anxious at all and 10 is feeling extremely anxious, what number would you give it?
6.
You'd give it a 6. Okay, and if I were to ask you, is there a color or a texture to this anxiety?
It's sort of a smoke which is rotating.
It is a sort of a smoke which is rotating. Okay, great. So we'll start tapping on the points. And before we go into the session deeply, we'll just do a demo of the points. So everybody can just get an idea of where the points are, and then we'll get into the session. Okay, so EFT is based on acupuncture. And while we do not use needles, we use the tips of our finger to tap on certain points of our body, which are the sort of energy hotspots. And when you tap on those points, what happens is the disruption which is there in the energy system, which is caused by any negative emotion, sort of comes back to balance. So it brings us back into wellness. Okay, so we'll always start with this point known as a karate chop point. So you can tap with any hand, this hand, it doesn't matter. You can tap on any hand, it doesn't matter. Okay, Anandmai, will you also tap with me? So this is the karate chop point. You just keep tapping here a
Mhm.
few times with all your four fingers. And then when we are doing the session, we will be saying some statements and tapping out loud. We will be saying some statements and tapping. Okay, then you take your two fingers and the beginning of the eyebrow. Yeah, 5 to 7 times beginning of the eyebrow. Then the side of the eye. Then below the eye. Below the nose, on the chin, just below the shoulder blade. Under the arm, in line with the nipple, just like a monkey. Yeah. Then on your thumb, your pointer finger, your middle finger, and your little finger. If any of you are pregnant or trying to conceive, don't do your fingers, just do the karate chop. Okay, just giving a disclaimer. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we're talking about anxiety. It's in the belly. It's at a
Yes.
6, and it's a smoky, round, rotating feeling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sort of a
Come, let's start
tornado
tapping.
going on in my stomach.
Like a tornado going on in your stomach. Great. Okay, thank you. Let's start tapping. Even though
Even
this
though
repeats to me, I'm feeling this anxiety,
I'm feeling this anxiety,
and everybody can repeat these statements. Okay, just start repeating into these statements. You will tune into your own version of anxiety. So, not to worry that I'm working with Anandmai, you will anyway experience some kind of benefit from it. Okay. So, even though I'm experiencing anxiety
even though I'm experiencing anxiety
and I'm experiencing it in my belly,
and I'm experiencing it in my belly,
I choose to relax.
I choose to relax.
Even though
Even though
this anxiety is at a 6,
if this anxiety is at a 6,
and it's like a smoky cloud,
it's like a smoky tornado.
like a smoky tornado. Thank you for correcting me. I still love and accept myself.
I still love and accept myself,
Even though
even though
ever since this pandemic has started,
ever since this pandemic has started,
this anxiety shows up more often,
this anxiety shows up more often.
I still love and accept myself.
I still love and accept myself.
This anxiety,
This anxiety,
it's in my belly,
it's in my belly,
it's at a number 6.
it's at a number 6,
It's like a smoky tornado.
it's like a smoky tornado.
This anxiety,
This anxiety,
I tend to feel it often,
I tend to feel it often,
and I feel anxious
and I feel anxious.
because what's the reason you feel anxious?
Um, it, it feels that things are going out of control,
Okay. What else? Because things are going out of control.
and then I might not be able to control it, and it will get worse.
Okay.
And I get scared also with my mom's health because
Okay.
I have to call house help and other stuff.
Right.
So i- she's at more risk. So am I. And then
Right.
meeting a lot of people and then not getting enough help. So that all clubs up together and it becomes
Right.
like overwhelming situation.
Right. So I understand that this anxiety is because things in your life are spinning out of control, and you feel as if you have no control. It's bringing up fear in you. Do you remember any specific incident earlier on in your life when you have felt the same kind of feeling? It may not be related to the pandemic at all.
Yeah, what is coming right now is when I was in a workshop away from home, and my mom told that my father is not keeping well. And then
Right.
suddenly that fear stuck into my stomach that something wrong going to be happen and I'm not able to control it.
Okay. Come, let's tap on it. Even though
Even though
I have felt this anxiety before
I have felt this anxiety before
when I was attending a workshop.
when I was attending a workshop.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
This anxiety,
This anxiety,
I felt it earlier.
I felt it earlier.
I was in a workshop
I was in a workshop
and I got a phone call
and I got a phone call
that dad wasn't well,
that dad wasn't well,
and I felt extremely anxious.
and I felt extremely anxious.
Is it okay to say helpless?
Uh, no,
No, okay. I felt extremely anxious and I felt that things were not in control. Am I right?
Yes, I felt
I felt
extremely anxious and I felt things are out of control. I'm not able to control them.
I'm not able to control them. And what's going on?
So it's just that feeling coming up, like
Yes,
what different could have happened in that moment,
right. Even though
even though
things were not in my control.
things were not in my control.
And I often wonder
And I often wonder
how it could have turned out to be different.
how it could have been turned out to be different.
I still love and accept myself.
I still haven't accepted myself.
This anxiety
This anxiety
and the fear,
and the fear,
I felt it at that time.
I felt it at that time.
I felt it very strongly
I felt it very strongly
because I felt things are not in control.
because I felt things are not in control.
So, is it okay if I ask you a question right now?
Yes, yes.
Do you think that things are ever in your control?
Sometimes I do.
Okay. Okay. Even though
Even though
sometimes I feel things are in my control,
sometimes I feel things are in my control,
but sometimes they aren't.
but sometimes they aren't.
And that makes me anxious and fearful.
And that makes me anxious and fearful.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
I just feel this anxiety
I just feel this anxiety
and this fear.
and this fear.
And where is it now? Is it still in your belly?
It is still in my belly, but the tornado has shrunken. Like it has become small.
Okay, the tornado has shrunk. And to what number is it now? It was at a 6.
It is about a two, maybe, like a very small
Right.
cartoon shot of tornado. It's not a scary tornado anymore.
Okay. Okay, come, let's start. Even though
Even though
it was a big smoky tornado
it was a big, smoky, scary tornado.
and it's a small cartoon like tornado now,
It is small, cartoon-like tornado now.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Suppose somehow
Suppose somehow
I could be okay
I could be okay
when things are in my control,
when things are in my control,
and even when things are not in my control,
and even if things are not in my control,
because that's the way life plays out.
because that's the way life plays out.
Some things will always be in my control,
Some things will always be in my control,
and some things may never be in my control.
and something will never be in my control.
And I have no control over that.
And I have no control over that.
There is no way I can control things that are out of control.
Yeah, there are no ways I can control which are out of control.
And the anxiety and the fear doesn't help me.
And the anxiety and the fear doesn't help me.
It doesn't solve the problem anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't solve the problem anyway.
Suppose somehow
Suppose somehow
I could just choose
I could just choose
to be in control of me
to be in control of me
and my response to the situation.
and my response to the
That
situation.
is definitely always in my control,
That is definitely always in my control,
even when the situation is out of my control.
even if the situation is out of my control.
Right?
Yes.
What if I could be peaceful
What if I could be peaceful
and calm
and calm
in every situation?
in every situation?
What if I could just surrender
What if I could just surrender
to a higher power
to a higher power
when I'm not in control anyway?
when I'm not in control anyway?
And what if I could do all of this
And what if I could do all of this
with ease and grace
with ease and grace,
and feel good about me
and feel good about me
and the way I'm handling the out of control situations
and the way I'm handling the out of way situation
in my life.
in my life.
That would be extremely empowering.
That would be extremely empowering.
I choose to be calm.
I choose to be calm.
I choose to be at peace.
I choose to be at peace.
I choose to feel good.
I choose to feel good.
I choose to be grounded.
I choose to be grounded.
I choose to be centered.
I choose to be centered.
I choose to feel good about life.
I choose to feel good about life.
And I just choose to respond to every situation in a beautiful manner
And I choose to respond to every situation in a beautiful manner
and an empowering manner.
and an empowering manner.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Yeah, take a nice deep breath. And if you have some water, have a sip of water. It is recommended to drink a lot of water after you do EFT because all the cortisol will release into your blood. So, drinking a lot of water and hydrating yourself well helps to flush it out of your system. So, you may even feel sleepy. You may yawn a lot because that is your body's way of letting out emotions at times, and all of which is absolutely fine.
I was feeling a lot of yawning coming out, but I was just yawning inside so that it doesn't come on the camera with all my braces and stuff that with a big wide mouth open. But it feels so nice. I have experienced it earlier, and I hope that our viewers also got something out of it. It feels so light, and it's so quick within like 10-15 minutes from a higher anxiety level to this to a place where I do not feel the anxiety at all, or it's very it's at a place which it is negligible. So it's so
Absolutely.
wonderful to experience this. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
So, ma'am, how would you say, like, if I have to ask that if someone who is not at all in, like, learned about any healing techniques or any therapies like that, so
Right.
which therapy they should go for first? Like, should they go for Louis Hayes Heal Your Life workshop, or they can just attend EFT and they can start their healing journey from there?
You can start anywhere.
Mm-hmm,
It's like how we say you can pray to any god. All the ways lead to the same place. It's the same thing. You start where what you are comfortable with.
mm-hmm,
So you may even start with just reading a self-help book. You may start with attending a course. You may start with listening to somebody talk. You can start anywhere. You have to see what appeals to you, and then you choose and you start your journey. I would say the more important thing is to understand that we are all a work in progress always. So
mm-hmm.
if you just look at different things to heal yourself and have a sort of a little bit of a spiritual bent to your life where you're doing something, whether it is deep breathing, meditation, therapy sessions, anything, and keep it as an ongoing part of your life, that would be very helpful.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, also I would like to ask that you spoke about choosing healthy food, and I know that you also practice a lot of eating habits, different type of fasting. So, how would you rate that food plays a part in our healing processes?
So, healing is always, when you look at healing, healing has four aspects to it. There is physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And all aspects, when they are covered, that is when the complete healing happens. So, if I only do my effort, I may start anywhere.
Okay.
Like, for example, I started with emotional and mental well being,
Mm.
whereas somebody else would start probably with exercising and going on a great diet. Somebody else may just start with meditation. And there is nothing wrong or right. You just start with anyone. But as you progress on the journey, there comes a point where you realize that the other three are also important. And ultimately, the circle is complete when you have chosen all four.
Mhm.
So, to bring it into more perspective, physical well being would be exercise, a proper diet, having supplements, and all of that. A spiritual practice would be meditation, some sort of a chanting, some sort of maybe visiting some religious places of worship, following a guru, all of that, you know. Uh, your mental health would be, what are your attitudes? What are your beliefs? How is it playing out in your life? And your emotional health would be based on our belief system. We will have different emotional reactions to different things, right? So if you keep working on your mental beliefs and your mental health, automatically your emotional health is so deeply connected that it will get sorted out. So we have to work at all. So if you look at a person who has any kind of a disease also, uh, your disease is due to certain thought patterns that you're thinking which are toxic. So if you try to heal yourself only physically,
Mhm.
but you do not try and look at the mental aspect of it, the healing is never complete. And if you look only at the mental aspect and you do not look at the physical aspect, then again the healing is not complete, right? So
Mhm.
while we all should go to a doctor and take the recommended medications, we should also look at what is the thought process, what is the toxic thought that has caused this kind of a reaction in my body. Because the moment you have a disease, that means you are already thinking the toxic thought pattern for quite some time.
Okay.
Because disease will first manifest in your auric field, in your energy body. And as you keep thinking those toxic thoughts, it becomes more and more dense. And ultimately, when we see it on a blood test or on a report, it is after a lot of time of thinking that thought, it has touched your physical body and it manifests as a disease. So, actually, a disease is, if you look at the word disease, your body is not at ease, it is dis-ease,
Hmm.
right? So, it is a way of your body telling you, stop thinking those toxic thoughts.
Hmm.
In fact, I talk a lot about the mind and body connection in my Healer Life workshop, where we talk about how different diseases have different emotional thought patterns connected to it. And when you correct the thought pattern, the disease also gets reversed. You start
Hmm.
seeing better results then. The person is able to cope.
Okay. So, ma'am, also for our viewers, I would like to know that what all aspects EFT can heal.
Well, EFT can heal anything that you think, right? There are so many thoughts that we think, and everything that happens in our physical, emotional, and mental bodies is connected to thoughts. So there are so many protocols within EFT itself. Like if you have attended the EFT workshop, you know there are n number of protocols that we follow, right? So you
Yeah.
can deal with fears, with phobias, with physical pain, with beliefs that are not serving you, with cravings for food, or all of that can be dealt with EFT. Anything that is even coming from a past life can be dealt with EFT at a very advanced level using advanced techniques. So I
Yeah.
would say EFT can pretty much deal with anything.
Hmm. So, ma'am, anything which you want to tell to our viewers, and I would again like you to tell us that where could we find you if we want to connect with you for any of the workshops or to have one-to-one sessions.
Sure. So, what I would like to tell the viewers is, like, this is a difficult time for everybody. All of us have uh, different versions of anxiety, uncertainty, and such kind of emotions going on. So, each of us have to take onus for ourselves, and we have to be responsible for our mental health. Talk to people, and don't go into a closet, and don't try to suppress your feelings, and also having a little compassion for people around us, because everybody is going through the same thing. Under normal circumstances, we know a few people who are going through a bad time, and some people are also going through a good time. But right now, all of us have different versions of stress going on for us, right? So, doing self work and having some kind of a practice which makes you feel calm and peaceful is very important. More than any time, it is so important today. So it is really the time to, look a little inward and see what is really going on and transform. And if you need my help to do that, I'm happy to support. And you can find me on Instagram. I go by the name of Leena R. Haldar. And on Facebook, I have a page called Your Life Coach Leena. So, no, sorry, Life Coach Leena. And you can find me there and you can send me a message. I also post about all my programs. So there are a lot of free events that I do and a lot of
Mhm.
paid events as well. So all the information is always there on my media handles.
Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so much,
most
ma'am.
welcome.
So I am just trying to add our other people as well here.
Sure.
So then Willie joining in from Australia, Rakesh is joining us from Hong Kong, and we have our favorite Kim here from North Carolina. And this is Ankit here again from New Delhi. And hello everyone, this is my mentor, Mrs. Leena Haldar from Mumbai.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
It was a great session, and I think we learned a lot. Kim, you need to unmute yourself.
No, go ahead. How lovely it is to meet the mentor of our lovely spiritual, we call her the spiritual warrior for us here. So she has taught us to manifest some great healings in our lives during this crisis that we are all suffering. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. She is doing a phenomenal job. Yes, I'm proud of her.
So, Willie and Rakesh, it's great to see you guys. How are you doing this spiritual morning?
We're good. We're good. Well, it's evening for me, but I'm good. No worries, and good to see the program.
Oh, yes, and it's great to see you. Willie, how are you doing down in Australia?
Good. Yes, I've only got 3 more days in quarantine, then I'm out of here.
Awesome. I love to hear such good news. So it's been quite a challenge for you to be in quarantine. And but what happens after you get out of quarantine? What do you get to do?
So what I did in quarantine was set up the work that I'm going to do outside. I'm in the middle of Australia, and sometimes you have Wi-Fi issues. So in my quarantine, I'm putting together all the content that I need to build. So when I get to the Wi-Fi stage, I'm working offline. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, well, that is awesome. You always stay busy and productive, and that's a good way to keep from getting depressed, is to keep your life staying busy and productive. Rakesh, how you're in the process of moving? How is that going? Will you have to go into quarantine?
Yes, I'll have to go into a quarantine in New Zealand, and it's out here. We're getting ready for it. No problem. No, I don't know. It depends on where they place me. I hope it's a decent facility.
Oh, well, I hope so too. I hope that they make this as comfortable for people as possible, because, going into quarantine doesn't necessarily mean you're sick. It's to prevent anything from traveling, but they don't want to make you sick. And look who we have from California. Or are you in California right now?
You talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you, Jeff. Where are you at?
I'm in Washington State. I'm
Washington.
near British Columbia.
Okay, so there he is. And look at him. He's all decked out for Peace Day.
Hey.
So, Anandmai, what do you have for us today?
So I have brought my coach, my mentor today here for all of us. So if you have any questions for Leena ma'am, you all can ask. So today the stage is for her.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
So, Leena ji, I would like to know that, during this pandemic, everyone is at home, and it's difficult to, keep yourself positive and motivated and keep following the same process, because it's not, it's not mandatory, or it's not required to go outside if you don't have any urgent work to do. So how people will manage this life, and also it's difficult to say that how much time we need to stay at home. So how can we balance that time and make sure that we are still healthy from inside and being well and stay happy and all this stuff.
Yes, so what you're saying is really right. We don't know when we'll be able to go out, and as much as possible, we all sit cooped up at home. So you're absolutely right on that score. But like I was sharing with Anandmai, that we have no control on what life throws at us, but what we have control is on the way we respond. So, really understanding that this is a fragile situation for each one of us, and being a little compassionate towards self, and having a good balance, so consciously making time for the things that you like, having a lot of empowering human interaction, talking to friends, having either Zoom calls or interacting with people, focusing on your hobbies, what are the things that you like to do, and getting back to doing those things, and figuring out how you can make the best of the situation. Like, I remember when Mumbai was under complete lockdown and we were not allowed to go out at all. I mean, not even outside. The whole of Mumbai looked deserted at that point. And then my family and I were feeling extremely cooped up, not having contact with the outside world, and we are quite social. And at that point, we decided that okay, every Friday night is disco night, and we would just all dress up and meet in the living room at 8 p.m. every Friday evening and blast the music and dance away. What else do you do? You just make the best of the situation. We just have to all get a little creative.
That's a wonderful idea, Lena. You know that on IBM TV also we do a show called Online Dinner Party.
Okay, you do.
Dinner party, yeah.
Yes,
So
I
we
have
have
gone
like,
to Taj today, and
okay.
they are doing conferences for people, and online conferences for corporates, and they actually manage, like, they had a conference for 100 people, and they would deliver meals. They are delivering meals for 100 families exactly at 7 p.m.
Wow.
So everybody can have online dinners together. So we are all
Wonderful.
finding our own way to cope with this whole situation.
Oh
That's
yeah,
amazing.
and I think that is a good way. Is just staying engaged with people. All too often, people like, and I heard you mention about we just kind of keep our minds in the closet. All too often, as we are forced into this seclusion, we kind of go deeper into seclusion, right? We go deeper into our shells, and that's hard on a lot of people. And then people don't understand other people. We're all different in many, many ways. What are some good things that we could be doing to relate to people, to calm things down and unite people? And because there's going to be so many people who just aren't getting into that united part, right? They're getting excluded and separated, mainly because maybe they don't feel comfortable coming out of their shell.
Right. So yes, there are different kind of people. Some people who like to interact a lot, and some people who are introverts, so to say, and don't feel comfortable interacting a lot. And even before the pandemic, the world was made up of all kinds of people. It's just that we could choose where we could be, and now it's out in the open because we are all cooped up together, and it is a sort of a situation where we can't do too much. So the only thing I think we can do is, have a lot of conversation, which is genuine conversation. Talk about your feelings, call up your friends, speak to them, speak to your colleagues, tell them that this is how I'm feeling, or I'm having a hard day, I'm feeling like this. And also be aware, like I was telling Anandmai, look at what is the self-talk that is going on for you. What are the stories that you are telling yourself about how your life is turning out to be? Become aware of that and ask yourself, is this how I want my life to turn out? And then decide, take onus, take responsibility, and figure it out. But mainly, I think everything can be sorted out if we are a little open and we don't suppress our feelings. But because what happens is, the moment you start suppressing your feelings, it's going to erupt like a volcano in a bit, in a few days, in a few months, in a few weeks, depending on what your threshold is. But if we are all communicating about the way we feel, then there is scope for empathy and understanding there. That's what I feel. So communication needs to happen on a priority.
Oh, and I agree that communicating is very, very important. And maybe too, even if you're like building up on the inside, try to go out and get some fresh air, release it as best as you can, just by maybe doing some exerting work and just getting that aggression out and doing some self prayers before you engage with other people so that they don't misinterpret what you're trying to do. Kind of calm the situation down, your own storms down a little bit. And like you said, sometimes when you just suppress them, they come out wrong. So sometimes the best way to do it is to go, Dr. Toole always tells me, put some ice on that head, go cool down just a little bit, right? But what he's saying is, yeah, maybe you have a right to be upset, but go exert yourself a little bit, get that out of you, right? And then come back and readdress it. And then, communicate. Because sometimes communicating it right off the top is not the best way. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. There has to be some kind of, if you take responsibility for yourself, you'll first learn how to respond rather than react. Because when you hear the word react, it itself sounds like a chemical reaction, right? There's a lot of activity going on inside that test tube, and there are a few bubbles and probably some foul smell that comes out, which nobody wants, right? So similarly, if we all focus on how we need to respond to the situation, which means not just going and openly talking about everything that we feel, which is erupting like a volcano, but really figuring out what is going on. And then after you have sort of sorted yourself out, you have a nice mature conversation with people. And like you said, it's important to have balance, blowing off your steam by having enough of exercise, eating nutritious food, nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, and seeking all the activities that you can do. I feel balance really has a way of making people feel at ease if you have enough balance of everything in your life.
I agree.
What is EFT?
It's called emotional freedom techniques, and it is a technique which is based on acupuncture. So you tap on a few points in your body while saying statements out aloud. And whenever you go through a trauma or some kind of a negative emotion, what happens is your energy body goes out of balance. So when you tap and you say these statements out aloud, your body automatically comes back into balance. And how you see it is you start feeling calmer, you start feeling more composed. You probably have a cognitive shift.
Coach Lina, a quick question. Have you ever used applied kinesiology testing?
Yes, actually, kinesiology is very much connected to EFT. Kinesiology is muscle testing, right? So you
Yes.
can get yes and no answers, and what your body is trying to, how your body is understanding or perceiving that particular information that you're processing, whether it is accepting it, whether it is rejecting it.
Okay. I want to use it for selecting co-founders or business partners. Is that applicable or is not applicable?
Yes, it is applicable. You definitely do get some insight.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Wow, I've never even heard of that. So this has been very educational. Sharif, welcome to our Spiritual Morning Talk. How are you doing today?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Beautiful. You got a good mic today.
Okay. So yes, I'm fine. I'm okay. Thank you again, IBM TV, New Days, and with the previous friends. So I think today I find another new friends from IBM TV. This is very good. Every day new face are joining in IBM TV. It's mean that you have a small but strong growth. Okay. That
So
is
in your language, small is good. Less is
yes. Small is beautiful. Less is more. Yes.
Okay. You know, we could probably say that too about how we build our spiritual growth. Do it slow, just like you would do any kind of physical fitness, right? Don't try to overwhelm or consume yourself. Try to learn as you grow. And that's one of the things that this has been for us with, we call our coach Kumar. We just, this has been good. Everyone who's ever been here, we always walk away feeling better, like we reboot and refreshed ourselves. And I'm glad that this is moving into more of a show that we'll start doing some of these exercises and prayers, because that's what we need more of. Yes, Ankit.
I would like to know from Leena ji that, people go to gym to build their muscles and strength and all this stuff. How can we build our inner strength? Because we need to have those willpower and inner strength to make sure that we'll fight with this pandemic and also with negativity and all this stuff. I'm not sure. I try to do it in certain ways. I'm not sure whether I'm doing right or not. But generally, as a professional expert, what's your take on that?
So let me ask you, what are the ways in which you are building your inner strength?
I just trying to divert my mind and focus on what I wanted to do and enjoy and do the work which I wanted to do and make sure that we follow the process. Regularly. It's not like that I'll do it for one day. And also I try to do things which keeps me happy and busy and which keeps me satisfied. Because if you don't do things which is not in your control, or where you don't feel good about it and you just have to do it for someone like that. So sometimes you just have to do it, but you don't feel good about it. So the small task and all the stuff which makes us. In fact, suppose sometime when you are very busy for like a week or so, and once you get that 5 minutes of time, you generally you got a it's kind of retreat for you basically, that 5 minutes, and then you suddenly get back to work and all that stuff. So there's small ways to do it. I'm not sure whether it's right or not, but that's what I follow.
Yes, but you know what I notice is that, Ankit, you are also looking at balance, because you're doing the things you love, you're trying to focus on your work. You spoke about so many things which clearly points to balance, which is a great way. What I would say is all of us should look at what makes us feel good. Of course, there are some things which we have to do, but there are so many things that we can choose which make us feel good. And somewhere down the line, I feel that, most of us have also, because of the busy schedule we had, stepping out and all, we have forgotten so many things that we used to enjoy in the past. So going back to that, looking at things that we love and spending time doing that, and looking at all the sides that you can develop of yourself, like I mentioned a little earlier, look at all the aspects, the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, the physical aspect, and look at what makes you feel joyful. For example, in the pandemic, I like learning a lot of long prayers. So I've taken up chanting. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but never got down to doing it. Because I've been busy having kids and looking after my career and looking after my home and so many things that I always put it on the back burner. And I think the pandemic gave me the perfect opportunity to pick that up as a skill that I wanted to master. So I chant every day for 1 hour, and I really look forward to that 1 hour of chanting because it gives me immense joy. Similar to painting. I enjoy painting. I've taken it up again. So I have once a week a painting day. Chanting I do every day. So all this over and above looking after my home and doing my work as well. So it's very joyful because I have a packed day, but the packed day is also filled with so many things that I love and which gives me joy and happiness. So automatically I'm not crabby when I'm at home. I'm a nice person most of the times to hang out with because I'm in a good mood. So I think you just have to look at that.
I think we talked about that with Coach Kumar, that it's better to express happiness around everyone because they would rather be around that than a grumpy person. And I thought that was so funny when she did that last week. Do you want somebody who comes in the morning and where's my coffee? Or do you want somebody, hi, good morning? And of course she's right. That's what I loved how she did that last week. It stuck in my brain. So every day this morning, I was always trying to be cheerful. Hi, good morning. Everybody's like, who is this? Yeah. But would you guys mind if I take a special moment and ask all of you to join us just for a brief moment on a special report and for a special prayer of a very special person who just passed in the United States. One of our Supreme Court Justice, Ruth, if I can get her right, one of our Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, passed away. And one of the things that I just really respected about her was the way that she stood up for the minority people and for human rights, real human equal rights. Not many judges would stand in such a ground in our society the way she did. And I'm just going to, express deep sympathies to her family and friends. I know that she dedicated her life, her time, and sacrificed probably many days of being with her family to make certain that justice was served in our country, but it was equally served and everyone was given equal rights. I mean, she even pursued equal rights for gender choice. She pursued rights that went against most religions, and that is very unheard of. It's going to be very difficult to fill her shoes. Wait a minute, I mean her heels. And I don't mean that in disrespect, because it takes a lot for a female in this country to get to the position that she was at. I think that she broke barriers. She was a pioneer, not just for women, but for real human equal rights. And from the bottom of my heart, I regret that I never had the opportunity to meet her. And I pray that we find someone who will serve our country as well as she did. And I know we have a special report from our White House correspondent, if we could play it just for a minute on behalf of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
From IBM TV, International Broadcast Media, this is a special report from Washington. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died Friday, September 18, 2020, of complications from metastatic pancreatic cancer, the Supreme Court announced. She was 87 when she passed at her home in Washington, D.C. Chief Justice John Roberts announced, quote, "Our nation has lost a jurist of historic stature. We at the Supreme Court have lost a cherished colleague. Today we mourn, but with confidence that future generations will remember Ruth Bader Ginsburg as we knew her, a tireless and resolute champion of justice," end quote. Justice Ginsburg's death and the vacancy now created on the Supreme Court was long feared by the center-left of the American body politic and silently hoped for and cherished by the right-wing conservatives in the Republican Party, since her death would create the opportunity for conservatives to appoint one of their own to the court, changing its makeup for the next 50 years. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who blocked consideration of former President Barack Obama's Supreme Court pick for over an entire year, has openly invited and planned for this day, mocking Democrats that when a vacancy arrived, he would push through a nominee with utmost dispatch and speed. As a result, Justice Ginsburg's death, just 45 days before the election, will ratchet up the tenor and tone of this election season to a decibel level we have never seen before, save for the possibility of the debates leading to the American Civil War. At stake are all the election lawsuits from around the nation dealing with this election on the federal, state, county, and municipal levels across the country. More importantly, though, are the major cultural issues currently protected by prior Supreme Court rulings, including Roe versus Wade, same-sex marriage, LGBT rights, the First Amendment freedom of speech and assembly, the Second Amendment and gun rights, the Fourth Amendment search and seizure and expansion of police enforcement powers, qualified immunity, and the 14th Amendment protecting civil rights, affirmative action in post-secondary educational institutions, and even the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare. The heated battle will be over whether Trump should nominate and the Republican-led Senate should confirm her replacement, or if the seat should remain vacant until the outcome of this presidential race. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell immediately announced that the Senate will vote on Trump's nominee. A Trump spokesperson announced that Trump will announce his appointment next week. However, for now, we here at IBM TV mourn the passing of an American jurist, a public servant, a champion for the protection of the least amongst us, and a woman who pursued what was right as she saw it. It is fitting that Justice Ginsburg's passing occurred on Rosh Hashanah, a day dedicated to reflecting on the eve of a new year and a new beginning. Let us all celebrate our faiths. I'm Bill Trezevant. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
So, again, I thank you guys for allowing us this brief moment to reflect upon probably one of the most greatest women in our country, who served us with such dignity. But as Bill reported, she cared for the people that the system doesn't care for, right? She made certain that all human rights were created equal. And I hope that they are unable to stop the laws that she established. But anyway, she was a beautiful person. And I hate that it's all being drawn into political. Her death should be celebrated. Her life should be celebrated. And all of her good things we should reflect upon as making peace in our country, right? Making things equal so that everybody has quality of life. But anyway, would one of you lead us in a prayer?
Coach Kumar.
I have my mentor today. Ma'am, please lead us to a prayer for today.
Sure. So, do you want this prayer to be dedicated to her or just a general prayer?
Well, to her for today would be nice.
Okay. Could you give me her name again, please?
It is Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Is it okay to say Supreme Court Justice Ruth?
Yes, that would be fine.
Great. Okay. So I'd like you to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath, centering and grounding yourself, feeling calm, peaceful, and connected. And as we are focused and peaceful, let us pray for the soul of Supreme Justice Ruth. Let us bring her into our awareness and pray that she is able to cross thresholds and go into the light with ease and grace. May the Lord Almighty give strength to all her near and dear ones to cope with these turbulent times, and for them to know that there are so many people with them, supporting them, giving them strength to grow through this grief. And may her soul be blessed forever and ever into the light with the masters and the angels forever in peace. And so it is. Now you may gently open your eyes whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Lena. That was beautiful. I could almost feel the light. So that was very, very beautiful. And we have, who do we have here today? I just mentioned him, Dr. Kula. Welcome. I just told everyone, you tell me I need to cool down a little bit. So good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening to all of my dear friends. I mean, I have not interacted with Ravi for quite some period of time. Sharif has also, and Willie also I've seen after quite some period of time, I guess. It's always a pleasure to be. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of an errand job at home. You know how it is. So that's why. So I apologize for that.
We just
that's fine. No need to apologize. That's fine.
That's
it's just
right.
that we are addicted to you on Fridays.
We miss you on Fridays, but we're glad you beam in anytime you can, because we enjoy conversations in the world of wisdom, and I call it the health of wisdom that you provide us, because it's something that we need to be exercising every day, are some of the habits that we talk about, or the mindsets, and just think about these things, right? Not just consider them, but then think about them and then execute them. But how are you doing today, besides going through traffic?
But I think before moving to Dr. Tula, I think we should thank Leena ji. I think she needs to leave for the day. And,
okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the beautiful session, and we would love to host you again. And thank you, our coach Kumar, for bringing you in and sharing the positive thoughts throughout this pandemic. I mean, we will follow that path on future as well. But as of now, I mean, we are all enjoying, and everyone is looking forward to have a Saturday coming soon. Every second day is a Saturday for us. That's what we want.
every second day is a Saturday reboot.
because Saturday is spiritual Saturday, and we want everything to be in spiritual, and everyone will be positive, happy, and stay calm and stay united. That's what we wanted to do.
Absolutely. We can do that. I think we all need, like she was mentioning, go paint a little bit every day, or find something that relaxes you every day. Maybe it's just visiting with people, because right now we're not visiting with people. So absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. And special thanks to Leena ma'am for joining us today.
Thank you so much,
thank you all.
everyone. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you all next week. Take care till then. Bye.